first and foremost that we are gathered in the province of Ontario on the traditional territories of various Indigenous peoples who have been present on this land known as Turtle Island since time immemorial. We acknowledge that this has been a meeting ground for generations. We are grateful to the stewards and caretakers of this land. As advocates, teachers, and educators, we understand our collective responsibility to honor, protect, and sustain this land. We further recognize and honor within the membership of OTF those who are Indigenous to this land. This practice of recognizing the ancestral and traditional lands on which we work, live, and play is a concrete action that we undertake as a first step towards reconciliation between Canadians and the Indigenous peoples of this land. But it is not our only step. Collectively and individually, we must seek to denounce the injustices and wrongs that have been committed against the First Nations, Métis, and Inuit peoples, and to dedicate ourselves to cultivating and maintaining relationships based on mutual respect and truth. Please allow me to introduce Daniel Dubé, originally from Smooth Rock Falls in northeastern Ontario. Daniel is an experienced educator and trainer based at École, secondaire, catholique, Algonquin in North Bay. With over 20 years in secondary education and 18 years in distance learning, Daniel specializes in supporting educators with technical and pedagogical resources, including managing the Brightspace virtual learning environment and Google for Education suite. A father of three, Daniel is also an avid sports fan and outdoor enthusiast. His journey in education, philosophy, and family life is highlighted in episode 39 of the Inspire Leadership podcast and the TV show A Fawn to Train on Eunice TV. For Daniel, to accept being good is to refuse to be excellent. And with that, I'd like to turn it over to Daniel.
Glad to be here with you. A little bit nervous because I've done a number of these in French, and this is it's been a while since I presented in English, so pardon my French, I may say. Let me share my screen first of all, and I'll then can you confirm that my screen is correctly shared? All right.
It is.
Perfect. Well, welcome to this webinar on AI. The subject of the past few years in education and everywhere in the world, actually. Maybe it's like a bad reference that I make, but for education, the arrival of ChatGPT in November 2022 is kind of a bit like our September 11 for education. And not a terrorist attack, but a drastic change, and it brings a drastic change in education. I think it's good to talk about AI and to kind of stop talking about it and start using it. So this is where I am coming from in my presentation, and I hope you enjoy what I have to present today. So the slideshow, I'll put the link here in the chat so you can access it, but I'll show it on my screen, and I'll throughout the presentation, I will show you a few links and let you know where to find the information. So there's a bunch of links and information in my presentation, and I'll show you how to access it. But first of all, let's talk about AI and what's your weather forecast for AI. Currently, it's snowing here in Callander, which is just south of North Bay. But when we talk about AI, where do you sit? What's your weather? Is it sunny? Is it partly sunny? Is it rainy with rainbow? Rainy or stormy? Just so in the chat, if you want to just put whichever number you can associate with, so just to have a bit of an overview of the crowd here. So not a lot of people at sunny, and a few people at stormy, and a lot in between. So I can't say my take here is fully sunny also. I'm usually partly sunny when it comes to AI, and you'll see throughout the webinar today where this partly sunny comes from. So here's the menu for today. So we'll talk about generative AI and generative AI, which is the ones we mostly use. And I'll talk about the revolution in our lives, the revolution in education, and what's to come and where we should go. So what are some other challenges with the use of AI? Practical applications of generative AI for teachers, and a few thoughts to finish off. So if you look on the top right-hand corner in the slide, you see this little hand with a kind of a semicircle on top. If you just click on that, it'll show you all the areas where you can, I'll do it again here, where you have a link or something uh, extra or so, somewhere to go. So these lead to different pages in the presentation. And I just noticed that the few thoughts was not added, so I'll do that after the webinar. Um, I like this slide because, first of all, when we talk about AI or when we use AI, a lot of people feel like the coyote with the roadrunner. Um, you always seem to be running after AI because it develops, it evolves really, really fast. And it seems hard to stay up to date or to catch up. Some people feel like they try something and it just blows up in their face, or like the image here, the one here, in heaven's name, what am I doing? Some people are just not sure what they're doing. So throughout the presentation, I'll try to alleviate some of these feelings, but I feel like that sometimes when I see some things about AI or I try using some AI applications or tools. Just to talk a little bit about myself, like Peter said, I'm originally from Northern Ontario and I still live in Northern Ontario, North Bay area. Um, I've been in teaching this is my 28th year teaching. I am a representative of AEFO. Um, I've been with the CAVLFO. You'll see some slides about our consortium. Basically, our consortium offers online courses to high school students in Ontario uh, in collaboration with the 12 or 13 school boards, French language school boards, including Le Centre Léger. So I was a teacher for 10 and a half years, and now I'm a trainer. I manage the Brightspace learning environment and the Google Workspace, and I do training. And part of my training has been to learn about AI and to help out all of our teachers and our staff adjust and you know kind of figure out what to do with AI because we are faced in the online courses world with the fact that we don't have students in front of us. They're everywhere in Ontario. Our teachers are everywhere in Ontario. So students use AI, and we know they use AI. We're not stupid. So how do we adjust? Um, how do we manage expectations? How do we talk about AI to students, about AI to staff? We've been through all that and we are still learning, but we are at a place where, and you'll see later on, where we are less AI literacy and more AI fluency. So let's move along and talk about what is, I think most people know what AI is, but this is a definition coming, which is from IBM. And like again, here I hit the little hand with a semicircle. It shows that there's a link here. It leads you to where I found this definition of AI, which is a technology that enables computers and machines to simulate human learning, comprehension, problem solving, decision making, creativity, and autonomy. It simulates human behavior and these behaviors that were enumerated. But you'll see in the following slides, um, it's still a machine. It remains a machine, right? So these are the main categories of AI. So you have the big AI picture, which is a broader category that includes systems that simulate human intelligence, like voice assistants, Alexa, Siri, Google. You have chatbots, you have recommendation systems, and let's say you watch Netflix or Amazon or Spotify. The tools, the algorithms suggest some more music similar to what you listen in Spotify, or some different movies in Netflix and stuff like that. And you're also talking about autonomous vehicles. In machine learning, it's AI systems trained using data to make prediction, like spam filters, price optimization tools like the one used by airlines or Ticketmaster, stuff like that. So they use price optimization tools and customer churn prediction models like marketing algorithms. So deep learning is advanced machine learning. So it's machine learning, but advanced, that uses more data and tries to mimic the learning process of the human brain, like computer vision systems, facial recognition on your phone, for example, speech recognition, image recognition, and protein structure prediction like AlphaFold. Um, and finally, we're talking about generative AI, which is a subset of deep learning that generates new content, like text generation. And you have the general example, like ChatGPT, Claude, or Gemini. Image generation, like Midjourney or DALL-E. Music and video generation, like Suno, Iva, and Runway ML. Automatic slide deck generation, like Gamma, Canva Magic Design, Copilot. Even this application that I'm using, which is called Genially, it can create and suggest slides in your presentation. You have the sources I use to build this image. So the basic image is synoptic, and then I use ChatGPT to generate most of the text that's presented here. So you can see I use AI to do a bunch of things, like generate image, generate text. So I'm not a stranger to using it, and I'm not afraid to use it. And I think people should be wary, but still not be afraid to explore. So I have just a short glossary here that was approved. So at the Cavelfo, we were mandated by the Ministry of Education to develop a series of resources for teachers and students. And we developed a website. You'll see a link later on in this webinar. And this document was produced with the approval of the Ministry of Education in French. So I just translated. I used translators to translate the information here. So you have different definitions that are accepted in Ontario generally about for conversational AI, generative image AI, generative text AI, and etc. So I'll let you read this over by yourselves, but these are the different AIs that are available to people. And again, this is a document that you can use, you can share. If I'll just open it up so you guys can see it. It's the same document, but in Canva. So here it is. It's the translated version that I shared with you. So you have access to this. And here's the definition of generative AI by the Canadian Center for Cybersecurity. Again, it's a type of AI that generates new content by modeling features of data from large data sets that were fed into the model. While traditional AI systems can recognize patterns or classify existing content, Gen AI can create new content in many forms, including text, image, audio, or software. And the important word here is create new content. That's what AI does. It creates new content with the requests of the prompts we feed it. So some more AI terminology here, like prompt or query, which is the request or the question we ask AI, algorithms, personal data protection, digital literacy, and responsible use. Again, this is translated from a document we produced. So again, I'm sharing this with you. So obviously, we talk a lot about ChatGPT. It's like saying Skidoo for a snowmobile or Kleenex for Kleenex, right? It's based on the main brand of that product that's recognized as the most popular. So ChatGPT, which arrived, like I said, in November 2022, is basically the basis for the most generative AI tools. ChatGPT does some of these things here that I'm going to talk about, but also there are other apps or tools that can do like image generation. So in the same way that ChatGPT can create text, Gen AI tools can create images, and some of these images are quite popular or renowned, like the Pope in the puffer jacket, which has circulated, and everybody was saying, "Oh wow, how could the Pope be in a puffer jacket?" And which is something that never happened, just like Donald Trump has never been in jail yet. So these there are several, and you'll see in some of the tools that I'm going to share later on. There are several image creation websites or applications that, or even your phone with just your camera, you can generate image or modify images using AI. This, like when we talk about replicating or training AI to create voices or replicate voices, then you fall into the more ethical questions. Well, there's also ethical questions with image generation, but the ethical questions can come from, let's say, I don't know if you've right at the beginning of this AI craze, there was this video, there's this song of Drake and The Weeknd that was AI generated, and that was quite the craze. And I'll play a little bit of it. You can hear the audio.
Mm-hmm.
I got a mail with my ex, like Selena, the flex, bumping Justin Bieber, the flavor, and left it. She know what she need her, she blessed, giving you my best, I got my heart, I'ma slay it with a knife, my back
would be
was
great.
that.
Like Selena, baby, on my cheetah, baby,
So all this voice cloning and this replication of voices. Yep. All this voice cloning and replication of voices brings up ethical questions like what do we do if someone steals your voice, or what's the intellectual property of all of this, to the point where some renowned artists, and I don't know if you've seen that in the news lately, but artists like Michael Caine and Matthew McConaughey have sold their voices to AI companies so they can be used in, like when you produce a video, you could say, "Oh, I'd like the voice of Matthew McConaughey to narrate my video," or of Michael Caine. So some renowned people are selling their voices, gaining financial advantages with their voices, which they should, and lending their voices to these AI companies, which is interesting, but it also raises questions like, well, what's going to happen next, right? And some of the things that are happening next are, if you, I'm going to try and play one of these songs. I have two songs here. You've probably heard. Oh, it opened. Hold on.
Yep, it's open.
I don't know if you've heard.
Yeah, we could hear the beginning of that.
Yeah. Oh, the volume's down here. Sorry.
Woke up this morning, sky was gray as my luck. Coffee was cold and my old truck got stuck. Bills on the table, dreams on hold. World keeps swinging, trying to take my soul. But
So this is an AI artist, AI generated artist, and this song was on top of Billboard in the country music section of Billboard. So that's another mind-boggling situation. The other one is Xenia Monet. I saw this artist on there was a report on the CBC News about her with being a machine, not a person. Sounds a lot like Whitney Houston.
He didn't walk me down no stairs, didn't warn me about them boys who wouldn't care, didn't tell me what a real man sounds like, so I fell for the ones that lie just right. He never put...
All right, so I won't play the whole songs, but they're available. The links are down here in the bottom, and I won't show you the Beatles Now and Then, but that was a song from the Beatles that John Lennon had recorded on a cassette, and they used AI to enhance the voice to make it sound a little bit better because it was recorded on a cassette. Anyways, all these ethical and kind of again, it just boggles my mind. The other thing I didn't put on there is Lily Norwood. I don't know if you've heard about her, but again, her talking about an AI artist, which Lily Norwood is an actress, basically. So, but she's AI generated. She's got an Instagram account. She's got social media and everything, but it's not a real person. So where does the line between real artists and fake artists, and all this money that goes into music and into acting and whatever, there's just a bunch of questions that still remain unanswered. Technology seems to advance fast, quick, and like even Billboard is having these songs on their charts. Are we really ready for this? And what is the next step in all of this? I've seen some of the messages in the chat of people talking about voice cloning and advertisements. I don't know if you've seen I think it was booking.com, where there's two guys show up at the counter, one gets a better price than the other. Well, that it's the same, like in French, it's the same person, it's the same like bodies and everything, and their voice is just AI generated, and you can see the lips moving a little bit weird. It's kind of, where do we go from here, basically? Again, and if I go to video generation, I'm going to show you a bit of this video.
Flub.
Brainless humans.
I'm the last cat standing in a city where sanity's slipping faster than a wet fish on a marble floor. Brainless idiots keep surfacing everywhere. And
so, completely AI generated video. Again, it's another type of tool that's available out there. But AI generated videos or AI modified videos also bring up problems like deepfakes. Show you a bit of this here.
Let's play a game. I'm going to show you two videos. One is real, one is altered by AI. Can you spot the deepfake? Prime Minister Justin Trudeau recommended one of these books. Which one?
The book that I got excited about reading through. It's called This Can't Be Happening in MacDonald Hall. It's called How the Prime Minister Stole Freedom.
Yeah, it was the last one. The Prime.
Anyways, so I'll let you watch this this clip here by yourselves. But again, you have all these video generation tools that generate videos, images, sound, but they're not real. And then people can modify videos, and this brings all the aspect of misinformation and fake news and conspiracy theories and all of that. Where do we start and where do we stop? Where do we end with all of this, right? So
There's pressure for the platforms like YouTube and Facebook to notify the users when it's AI generated content.
exactly,
But
yeah.
they're reluctant to do that
Yep.
because
Yep.
that's less revenue then, right?
Absolutely. And the name of the game again is money. It's
Yeah.
all about money. It's all about having more info, more videos, more hits, and more publicity, which brings in more money. I like this clip here because I showed you all of these tools and all these different AI generated content. But this is from the Terminator.
You gonna work all day?
Terminator
I'm
2.
sorry, baby, but this thing is just kicking my ass.
Miles, it's Sunday. You promised to take the kids to Raging Waters today.
I can't. I'm on a roll. Baby, this is gonna blow them all away. It's a neural net processor.
I know, you told me. It's a neural net processor. It thinks and learns like we do. It's superconducting at room temperature. Other computers are just pocket calculators by comparison.
Yeah.
But why is that so goddamn important, Miles? I really need to know, because sometimes I feel like I'm going crazy here.
Baby, I am this close. Come here. Imagine a jet airliner with a pilot that never gets tired, never makes mistakes, never shows up to work with a hangover. Meet the pilot.
Why did we get married, Miles? Why did we have these children? You don't need us. Your heart and your mind are in here. But it doesn't love you like we do.
See again, and that's the line I like. It was funny. It's funny because I watched the Terminator with my son who had never seen it. So we're watching this, and that was a year and a half ago, maybe, and I didn't remember the scene, and it just hit on me that it doesn't love you like we do. It's a machine. It remains a machine, like he said, a pilot that never gets tired, that never gets drunk. It's never tired. It's never drunk. You can ask AI anything, anytime, but it doesn't love you. Like it's not human. It remains a machine. And that's that's what we have to remind ourselves, that AI remains machines. And I think we have to remind kids that AI are a machine, and machines that want your info to generate more content, to generate more advertisement, to generate more money, basically. But it doesn't mean that we can't use them to our profit, to make our lives a little bit better, our jobs a little bit easier. We have to be careful, but still, they are machines. So when I was talking about the revolution, obviously, November 22nd, 2022 is the date where ChatGPT arrived, and all these conversational agents, appeared in our lives. AI has existed for a long time, but the bigger problem is the speed at which Gen AI has transformed the way we do things and has transformed the way we perceive things also. And just by showing you some of the artists and some of the videos, it changes a lot in our lives in a short amount of time. So again, the change raises ethical, economic, and social issues that are not addressed immediately. Technology's there. We make it do a lot of things, and then we decide, what are we going to do with them? What are we going to do with those musicians that appear on Billboard and are not really, they're not real, and basically taking real people's livelihoods or places on Billboard and wherever else, maybe some jobs eventually. The fear that robots will replace humans is very real for many people, and that's why I put the image of the Terminator again here on the screen. There's also a feeling of losing control, and even some of the people who contributed to creating AI have raised a red flag, and this is a quote from Pause Giant AI Experiments. You have the link here at the bottom. It's a powerful, and this was in March 2023. That was like 4 or 5 months after ChatGPT came into our lives. So powerful AI systems should be developed only once we are confident that their effects will be positive and their risk will be manageable. This confidence must be well justified and increase with the magnitude of a system's potential effects. So even the people that created AI say it's going faster than we are able to adjust to it. I think this this feeling or sentiment here is a bit less than it was in March 2023. We're close to 3 years after this article was published, but still there's still this feeling, and a lot of people, and I've seen when I was asking you about your weather forecast, some people are still at 3, 4, 5 and are still wary of the effects of AI. And I think learning how it works and what it does probably makes us a little bit less wary, or sometimes more, and we use it more carefully. So I was talking about the revolution and the speed. You see that ChatGPT reached 1 million users in 5 days compared to Instagram in 2010 in 2.5 months, Spotify in 2008 in 5 months, Dropbox in 7 months in 2008, and Netflix in 1999. It took 3.5 years to get to 1 million users. So again, the speed of people using or subscribing to these services has increased because we have our phones in our hands all the time, and we use these services and these applications daily, sometimes way too often. I'll bring you back to this is I'll open, I think it was 1986. Math teachers stage a calculated protest. This is when the graphic calculator appeared in our classrooms, and some teachers were saying, "Whoa, this is going too fast, and we're gonna have to, students won't be able to do math anymore." But and you saw the same thing when Google or internet, and then Google came along with the ease of getting information quickly. We have faced these problems or these situations, these revolutions before, and we've adjusted to it. And I think we need to, and we have to adjust to this one because it's not going anywhere. So I'll leave this article with you, but I like to bring this back and just to say, oh, hold on, this isn't new. We've survived, and I think we'll survive again. I don't think a Terminator's coming yet. Hopefully it never does, but I don't think it will. Don't be surprised. Students are using AI. So if you're not using AI, especially in high school, I'll say in high school, university, college, maybe grade 7 and 8. I'm not sure in earlier grades, but using AI to produce some schoolwork. But so you'll see here on the right is a survey we had with our students. This was the second year last year, or this April. We surveyed our students. So the survey is in French, but the data resembles a lot the studies by KPMG, which is the 2025. I put the 2024 and 2025 studies here in links. So this is kind of the same. We based our survey on the same type of questions that KPMG were asking students. So 59, that was in 2024, 59% of Canadian students now use Gen AI for their schoolwork. That was in 2024, I remind you. So I'll show you these stats in 2025 after. 43% who are employed in educational institution have indicated that they are redeploying time saved from use of Gen AI towards more high value tasks. So us as teachers, we can use Gen AI to achieve some of the things we do daily, sometimes answering emails, stuff like that. And we can redirect our resources or energy to other tasks. And 70% of the students are saying that they are turning to Gen AI to help, for help rather than their instructor. So as teachers, and I see this with my own kids. I had 2 kids in university, 1 in high school, and sometimes it's easier for them to ask for clarifications or for extra information on different subjects by asking ChatGPT or Gemini or other tools that they use, because they use them. I'll say daily. And then the 2025 study, which is not opening, which should be. I will fix that after, but it showed stats that were growing. One of the things that we found interesting in our survey, at the bottom here, for the student, AI improves their marks. 18% only said that they thought it did, and the rest were I think 43% were not sure, and the rest were no, that it doesn't improve their marks. So, students are aware that they can use it, but I think they are also aware of the fact that it's not the best solution to improve your marks. It can help, but it's not the end goal. It's not the main thing that will help them. So looking at all of this and talking about AI and all the different things that it can generate and the ethical questions and the stats talking about students using AI, it comes down to a simple choice.
It's down there and I'm in here. I guess it comes down to a simple choice, really. Get busy living, or get busy dying.
The simple choice is, it's kind of dramatic here, get busy living or dying, right? But it's the way I look at AI and the fact that students are using it and I'm called to using it is get busy living. So start using it or get busy dying. Meaning students will surpass your knowledge, and you won't understand what they're doing with it, and you'll remain in a static state I'll say in education or in class or dealing with student assignments and marking and all of that. So that's why I talk about get busy living or get busy dying. There's a few other challenges related to the use of AI that I want to address. First, detecting AI. I ran tests using GPT-0, Draft and Goal. I used Turnitin, and for the same text, some say it's 100% human, some say it's 100% machine or AI generated. It doesn't give verifiable proof that a student used AI. It can help show you that it might be, but it's not like using Turnitin when we used it just for papers, where compared to a real database of real writing, to compare and say, oh, yes, this student used this and this and this, because it's not foolproof. I think the better way to detect if a student used AI is to learn how AI reacts or how AI writes. I've seen patterns in ChatGPT and Gemini, which I use quite often, to understand how the general structure, more mechanical structure of text, of a text that a student might hand in. If you understand the same recurring mistakes, then I think it's a better way to detect than using tools that are not reliable. So I think we need to rethink our notions of plagiarism and cheating, to see a bit, more clearly the big picture of the students' uses of AI in their assignments. So this comes from, you've probably heard that textbook. This is an activity you can do with staff, with colleagues, where do you draw the line on what's cheating and what's not cheating. So there's different statements, like AI does the student work for them with no thought by the student. Obviously, that most people will say that's cheating. And then if you go, student does all the work without any assistance from AI, internet, etc., that would be considered as not cheating. But where in the middle of all of this do you draw the line to? Or where do you understand that a student might use it for planning, or might use it for spell checking or stuff like that? I think you have to balance all of these things. And I encourage you, again, there's a link to this article and to this image, so you can use it and discuss with colleagues, and make your own mind out of all of this. Obviously, there's an environmental impact on from the use of AI. There's generally the AI tools are based in large servers that generate a lot of heat, and generally people, what I've heard and what you've probably heard also, is that one question asked to AI, you need the equivalent of a bottle of water to cool down the servers. So if you ask a series of prompts to have a more precise answer from AI, then it's a bottle of water each time you ask AI, which can, for places that have less water, or for the greenhouse effect of more heated water and cooling down all the servers. There's a part of what we do and how we use AI that we could improve to reduce the use of water and the heating of these servers. Again, more information on this. I'm not an environmental expert. I've read most of the information in these links, and again, there's a link on each of the articles and also on this image. So there is an environmental impact that needs to be considered, and there's other ethical considerations, like what you feed to AI tools is generally used to train it. So private information or student papers that you might want to drop in some AI tools, then that information might be used to feed the AI tool, where it gets its information, and it's where it builds its database of knowledge. We've talked a lot about bias, discrimination, misinformation, and hallucination, which is often part of the AI tool output. And at the end, I'll be talking about all this output thing and what we do as humans with it. Intellectual property and copyright infringements also are a big question. So these AI tools will take information from books and from publications, but never or rarely or sometimes wrongly give credit to those sources. So that's also a big question. There seems to be a lack of regulations and directions from governments, including in Ontario. I know that the Ministry of Education has not yet, and the government has not yet come out with a clear policy, which might be problematic. And some people say, well, I'm not going to do anything until we have clear policies. So this might hold back people of using AI tools. And what happens to your personal data or to children's personal data? We know that 13-year-old is the age where kids could use AI, but then again, they're still not adults. And what happens with our personal information? Where does that go? And how do the companies use it? So these are all questions or ethical considerations that we have to keep in mind when using AI tools and when sometimes asking students to use AI tools also, if we want to bring them to AI fluency and not just literacy. There's a series, this is from Ditch That Textbook again. There's a series of tools that you can use there. So they have 50 tools for teachers in this link, this article. So I encourage you to go and read over. And there's also the question of what's the difference between paid and free AI tools? And we know that in these times, every tool that's free is not going to be free in not too long. Like ChatGPT. At the beginning was mostly free, but if you want to have the better features, then you have to pay. I was using Edpuzzle a few years ago to edit videos and to add them into some courses, and it was completely free for teachers. And I went back to Edpuzzle after maybe a year off, and now there's limits and you have to pay for those tools now. All the tools have paywalls, and those that don't have paywalls will have those free versions with limits, and these paid versions with more features and more access. I'm paying personally for ChatGPT, and there's a big difference in what you can do with the paid version on a daily basis compared to the free version. Like, how many documents can you feed the tool for it to give you an answer? Or if you want to if you add let's say PDF files, well, you can add 10 at a time, but then you can add more, but there's generally no limit per day. Or image generation in ChatGPT, if you use the free version, you can generate 2 or 3 images per day, compared to ChatGPT, the paid version of ChatGPT, where you can generate, there's generally no limit to the amount of images. So let's say you wanted to generate an image, and then you want to fix something that's not right in the image. Then you have your 2 prompts, and it generates 2 images, and you're done for 24 hours. You have to wait. So this is well, for the companies, obviously, it's a way to make money and to keep paying for the development of these tools. But for us as users, well, there's advantages, but financial disadvantages, because you have to pay. Like ChatGPT, the paid version is $20 a month US. So it's quite expensive, especially if you have more than one, if you're paying for more than one tool. So I've done a lot of AI literacy in my presentation, but I think, and people are right to say, it's time to switch from learning about AI to learning how to use AI effectively. And I think there's four aspects that that people need to work on, or people need to improve. The first one is mindset. So it's good to know and to explore and to try things, but I think in AI fluency, you have to know how to learn with AI, and you have to develop better ways to use AI with the knowledge that you've acquired. The interaction part, so use AI to do basic things like create an image or create text, things like that. But you can also use AI as a collaborator or partner. I was working with my son. He was in a class and he was writing a paper. So we collaborated with AI to give us better ideas and to help him write his assignment, not have the tool write the assignment, but the tool help with ideas and give us some suggestions on how to improve some sentences, or how to improve some ideas, or the introduction, the conclusion, or better sources. Application, so applying known rules and prompts to navigating ambiguity and novel problems. And outcome, like critically evaluating AI and using it responsibly, to creating, innovating, and solving complex problems with AI. There was another webinar in May by the OTF that was talking about AI literacy and fluency, responsible engagement with generative AI. I put the video here with the link. And there's a few other articles here that talk about how to go from literacy to fluency. Prompting is, get a bit of water. So why should we care about properly or prompting correctly? So again, AI tools are machines. Machines do what we tell, they do what we tell them to do here. In this case, a bit like a car, when you press on the gas, the car is supposed to accelerate, and when you press on the brake, it's supposed to slow down and stop. It's a machine. So it responds to the actions of the driver or the requests we give the AI tool. So imprecise prompts might lead to AI answers that are incomplete or contain false information and hallucinations. So the more precise your prompt is, the better the answer from the machine is going to be. So if you give it more context, if you give it more information on what you want in the original prompt, then the answer is going to be better with better information. And you can say, I want you to add this, and I want you to dismiss this before you ask your first question or your first prompt to the tool, and that will give out better answers. AI tools are trained with feedback from users. Low quality output that is accepted by users tells the machine it's doing a good job. So if you don't verify the information that the AI tool gives you, and you just take it and use it, or you don't give the tool feedback by saying, well, I don't think what you said is right, then the machine is going to keep thinking what it gave out as an output is right or is correct. So correcting the machine by giving it feedback is also very important. So the information that we receive on the other side is clearer and it's not false and doesn't contain hallucinations or bias. So a higher quality prompt reduces the amount of interactions between human and machine. So it saves time and reduces frustration. And also, we were talking about environmental impact. The better prompt leads to less prompting, and then thus less use of the servers and heating of the servers. So less carbon emissions, less use of water to cool down the servers. So this is a generally recognized, pattern for prompting or elements to be included in prompting. So PREP. So prompt. Whoops, I didn't want to open it, but there's a link on there. Prompt to introduce the question with a prompt. Give a role to the AI. Be explicit in your instructions and set the parameters of the answer. So introduce your question and then give it a role. I'm a teacher, or you're a teacher in a grade 6 class. Be explicit in your instructions. So give it clear and precise instructions and set the parameters of what you expect as an answer from the AI tool, and then edit the output. So the word edit: evaluate, determine, identify, and transform. Evaluate your AI output content for language, fact, and structure. Determine accuracy and corroborate with source. And I'm going to talk about critical thinking a bit later on in a few slides. Identify biases and misinformation in output, and transform content to reflect adjustment and new findings. And basically, transform also is, don't just take what the AI gives you and spit it out like it is. You can adjust it to your style, to the way you teach, to the way you write, by using the information it gives you and using it in your context and the way you want to use it. I was talking about our website. I'll just show it quickly here. This is our website with resources for students and teachers on how to use AI, how to use it in class, how to use it for students to help with schoolwork, how teachers can use it in their classroom. It's all in French, so for those who understand French, I invite you to explore the website. It's a very complete resource. We have 2 resources in English for writing. I've posted them here on this page, on this slide, so you can access those by clicking on them. You can see the little hand that shows up. And I just added a few uses for teachers for using AI: generating image with specific elements from a story, how to differentiate instruction with AI, so that can help with differentiation, how generative AI tools assist with lesson planning, using Google Gemini Gems, which is similar to something Peter is going to show you in a few minutes, which is GPTs. So Google Gemini Gems are the Google side, or the Google way of doing GPTs. The pros and cons of AI in special ed, and strategies for effective feedback in the age of generative artificial intelligence. Again, there's a link to each of these articles that can give you ideas or information. Where we are at also as teachers in our online context is, I think we had to modify our assessment methods because students were using AI a little bit too much sometimes. A lot of teachers have gone from assigning essays or preparing Google slide presentations and stuff like that to interviewing students, speaking directly with students to see their understanding. One of the sentences that I heard in a conference was, assessment is not an end but a process, and you don't just evaluate the end, the product of the student, but also the student's understanding and all the steps that student took to get to the end. So we talk about triangulation and evaluation, which is evidence of student learning with conversation, product, and observation. It's a bit harder to do online, but it's possible, and a lot of our teachers have shifted to evaluating a lot more the process than the end product. Some of the quotes here that I added with this image is taken from the article from Think Academy. But the last one, educators are therefore exploring authentic assessment strategies. Here's a few examples of authentic assessment, which evaluates a student's ability to apply their knowledge and skills in real-world situations, moving away from traditional methods where AI is easy to use in an inappropriate, and I'll put it in quotation marks, way. So there's a few examples like demonstrations and presentations, role-playing and reenactments, documentaries, podcasts, videos, case studies, exhibitions, and fairs. So these are different, and they're not exclusive. They're just a few examples here. So assessment should be an ongoing, engaging part of learning that helps students achieve meaningful outcomes. In a context where AI tools can easily generate assignments, authentic real-world tasks that involve performance, collaboration, and reflection are essential to ensure students produce genuine work and truly develop the intended skills. There's a few other articles here to say that I have added to this slide, and I'm gonna have Peter talk about his GPT that he created about the assignment strengthener. Peter, if you want to go ahead.
Sure. So I've been thinking about this for a long time because I've fully embraced AI and AI in education. And I've just been thinking about, better ways of adapting AI. We don't want students just cheating with it. So I started formulating some thoughts and then discovered just this last week, there's a framework out there called ADAPT. You have to be careful because there's another framework called ADAPT, also related to education, but that's more of a pedagogical one. So the acronym here stands for authentic, dynamic, active, personalized, and transparent. And all of that will make sense when you see the GPT. So it really emphasizes process over product. And that's something that I've really solidified my mind around with AI. So for instance, already probably 3 years ago, somebody asked me, would you let a student use AI to correct the spelling in an essay? And I said, absolutely. I would let them use AI to write the essay. And when I first said that, everybody was kind of shocked. But the point is, AI is here. We have to embrace it. It's no different than a hammer in a wood shop. So the big difference is, though, we don't, we can't just mark the product at the end. We can't just mark that essay. We have to look at the process involved in writing the essay. So this GPT really emphasizes the process. So if you, just basically put in there, I want my students to write an essay, it will break it down into a process for you. And then that third bullet, it really looks for context. Like if you can find context in the assignment, then the students are more inclined to not use AI, right? If it's, from them, if it's related to them, it'll be more authentic. And then the fourth bullet, it gives you AI use guidelines with the assignment in student-friendly language. So it will tell them exactly what's allowed, what's not allowed, and that they have to be transparent about it. So this does not shut down AI. This will actually encourage it where it's appropriate, but it will give them the guidelines for that. And then lastly, it'll give you ready-to-use output. Why don't we go ahead and do a demo, Daniel? So he's already got the assignment in the GPT, and he's also got class context in there as well. But you don't have to put the context in there right away. The GPT is actually designed to ask you. So if there is no context, it will ask you to give as many details about the class as possible. There's also 3 buttons. So if you don't know where to start, just clicking on About this GPT or Menu, or even just typing Menu in the prompt. And then the last bullet was just to ask you to, paste in your content. I think
And I might have erased it from there.
yeah, you probably lost it.
All right, let me get back to. I'll go find let me find your text here. Just give me a sec. I have it on another screen. Go. Okay, and I'll paste it in here. So it's all back.
Yeah, go ahead.
And I'll send it.
Now, so far, the feedback I've gotten is really positive, but it is new. So I encourage you to, check it out. If you type menu, one of the options is to send me feedback. So there's an option to open a Google form and send me feedback, which I would really love to get from you. I'm really interested in how this works for you. So you'll see there that it's, reworded it, it's expanded it, made it very clear what the assignment is all about. Throws in the success criteria. And there's the AI use guidelines. So what's allowed, what's not allowed, and then what they have to be transparent about. And then for the teacher, so there's the steps of adapt to explain how each of them pertains to this assignment. Some enhancements. Yeah. And then there's a little disclaimer at the bottom that, don't forget teaching is all about professional judgment and relationships with students, right? So don't just blindly use this without reviewing it for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, check it out. Let me know what you think.
There's a few questions in there.
Question. Yeah, it's called Assignment Strengthener. So we'll drop the link in the chat.
Yeah, and the link is also in the presentation.
Yep.
That's slide 37, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
So if you just hit the underline here.
So Jane asked, is it based off of an LLM? So yeah, it's a custom GPT in ChatGPT. What I can do later on is once I'm happy with the instructions, like once I get some feedback that, it's not doing weird things, then I'll probably publish the instructions so that you can actually what I'll probably do is create a Google Gemini gem as well, because I know there's some school boards that don't allow ChatGPT.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe if somebody asks me really politely, I'll share the questions and the framework that goes with it. So the way that I created this was, when I learned about this process, I gathered up resources. Then I asked ChatGPT to do some deep research. And then I took that research. So it's quite a comprehensive Google Doc that I have. And then that gets used to create this custom GPT. Is it available in the free option? Yes. You can use it for free. You're going to discover, though, that there are limits to how much you can use it. And it may even limit the output size. So quite honestly, $20 a month, it's cheap for the amount of time saving that you'll get. Right. I highly recommend, if you're a teacher, just pay the $20. Yeah. And Lisa, yes, I will share everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, let me know. Use the feedback form, please, and I'll get notifications right away.
Sure. Thank you, Peter.
You're welcome.
And it all comes down there. As I see a comment from Dean here that you're really skeptical of this approach, just letting AI do the work. And I think it all comes down to critical thinking for myself. We talk a lot about, critical thinking for students. Does AI enhance or dull critical thinking skills for students? Does using AI make students more or less motivated? How can we teach critical thinking skills with AI in the mix? But in the end, we have to be able to be critical thinkers about AI. And, to Dean's comment, it's okay to be skeptical. It's people that are not skeptical often fall into traps. I'm sure Peter has been skeptical of tools and has explored and tried, and And I've done that too. I was skeptical too, and I'm still skeptical. Just the music part, just the artists that are non-existent, they're machines, raises a lot of questions for me. And we have to be adults in the room for the students, but we have to be adults in the room for ourselves too. We have to be critical thinkers about the how we use AI and what we do with it every time. And that's what I liked about that last sentence in Peter's the output, the teacher reminder. It's always we have to be the ones that review and to accept that what is in there is accepted by us. Because if I'm a teacher and I'm in class and I give an assignment to students and they bring it at home and they show their parents and the parents say, oh, well, this is all AI generated and I haven't done any checks and I haven't accepted, I've just taken it and given it. Well, I'm responsible for that. Just like a student in school or in university, everything that's put in a paper, that's written in a paper, even if it's AI generated, if you put your name on it, it's your name that's on it. So you have to be a critical thinker to select info, to make sure it's valid, to make sure it's clear of biases, So we have to teach those critical thinking skills, but we have to learn them too when we use or we're faced with dilemmas of using AI. And I think this article from the Globe and Mail, this they called it a in-depth Your Brain on AI, is a really, really good read. I suggest it to everyone. This is a really interesting read. And if you look, is AI dulling critical thinking skills? Is it dulling our critical thinking skills as adults because it makes things easier? Well, it does make things easier, but you have to accept that they will make things easier, but it's not always going to be right. And you're going to have to decide and judge and be the critical thinker in the room for yourself, for the students, and for your kids in your house, right? So this is my last message. The main thing I want to leave you guys with is be critical thinkers, explore, and find out what works for you and what doesn't work for you, and use what works for you, but use it appropriately. I'll come back. I hope your weather forecast is a little bit better. You can go ahead and add it again in the chat if you want. I'm always going to be partly sunny for now, and some people are always going to be stormy.
Oh, we've got lots of twos now.
Well, that's good. I see a one. Anyways, if you have any questions or comments, don't hesitate to contact me. My email is in there. The recording is going to be made available with the link to the presentation also. I'll copy paste it again because I know I put it at the beginning. Some people might have missed it, so I'll put it back here in the chat. If you want to access it, it's available to everyone, and I'm going to correct a few bugs I saw during the presentation. So I hope it was enjoyable. If you have any questions, you can raise your hand and ask it right away, or you can send it to me by email.
Are there any questions right now? Would anybody like to unmute and ask? Or if you'd like, maybe preferred, why don't we wrap this up and then we can stop the recording?
Sure.
Then people will be more comfortable asking questions unmuted.
Yep.
All right. All right. Well, thank you, Daniel, for your very interesting talk on generative AI, a revolution in action for teachers. Your comparison to 9/11 is so true, man. You made it clear that while AI isn't new, tools like ChatGPT have really changed the game fast. You tackled the excitement and the worries head on, from ethical concerns and academic integrity to how AI might impact our teaching and even the environment. I especially appreciated your reminder that AI is only as good as the prompts we give it, and that we need to think critically, not just use it blindly. Thank you for helping us make sense of this.